I've been on a journey of learning to cook from scratch, making sourdough and also growing a garden with both veggies and cut flowers for over 5 years now, and while I'm still very much a beginner, I'm just now starting to feel like I'm getting into the swing of things and might be able to share a few things here and there. I've been making my morning coffee a little bit differently lately. I've been a black coffee drinker for years, but the last couple of months I've been just having one coffee a day, but topping it with a little bit of cream with brown sugar. And this particular day I also had some homemade grass-fed gelatin marshmallows in the fridge, so I added that in as well. This has turned what used to be me drinking up to 4 coffees a day almost without thinking into more of a moment that I really enjoy, and I have it as a morning tea late in the morning. I've taken a little break from sourdough this year and I'm finally getting back into it, so I started off with some sourdough dinner rolls. This is the easiest sourdough recipe I've ever made, and for that reason it's been one of my favorites. There's no stretching and folding or kneading, and the result is really crusty, chewy rolls. I mixed the dough together the night before and then the following afternoon started shaping them so they had a nice long ferment time. I shaped them by dividing the dough into 6 pieces and then pulling the dough on the surface towards me and then away again. The tension kind of pulls at the dough until it creates really neat little balls. I had a little bit too much flour on the surface, which was meaning my dough wasn't pulling properly, so I just had to remove a little bit and then it worked great. I then place the dough balls into the pan I'll use to cook them in, cover them and let them sit and rise for a couple of hours. I usually use semolina instead of flour on the surface to shape my balls because I like the crusty finish this gives. But I didn't have any left and only brought some out while the rolls were rising, so I just tried to dust a little bit on the outside once I got back. It didn't work as well as it usually does, but it still did the trick. I then scored them on the top with a sharp knife and baked them in the oven. I like to cover them for the first half of the bake and then take the lid off so they get nice and brown. And the result is really nice crusty dinner rolls. I'll leave a link to the recipe down in the description. The only thing with this recipe is I do find they don't keep fresh very well, so it isn't a great recipe for batch baking. Although I do still use them the following day, they just usually need toasting, but they're a really great quick recipe for if you're wanting to get dinner rolls on for that evening. It's that time of year where I'm trying to get all of my seedlings going in the greenhouse to be planted out. I'm actually running a little bit late this year, and I'm also planning a smaller garden because I don't feel like I have much capacity at the moment, but I don't think a year will ever go past without me at least trying to grow a summer garden. I usually buy seed raising mix to raise the majority of my seeds. However, every year I think about how much better it would be to make my own. It's much more cost effective and it's also organic, whereas I'm never really sure what chemicals could be added to the store-bought mix. This year we finally gave it a go using 2 parts compost, 1 part worm castings and 1 part sand. We used a sieve to sift through the compost so that the mixture was nice and fine. This is important so that it's easy for the seeds to sprout in and push through. We've got the seed raising mix that we just made, and these are what I will use. Anytime for the last 5 or so years that I've bought a pot of seedlings from the nursery, I've just kept the little plastic tubs that they came in, and also the trays. If you do this, just make sure that you give them a clean in soap and maybe even a tiny bit of bleach when you do then reuse them, because I have heard that you can bring different plant diseases into your garden from the nursery if you don't do that. But I've done that many times now. And then I didn't think ahead and buy new ones, and I'm in a rush to get things planted, so I'm going to just reuse these old ones, but I like to use these paddle pop sticks as name tags for my plants. I'll just turn that one over and use this side. And then, as you can see here, I do usually put a little bit of sticky tape on top, and that's just to stop the water from making the ink in the pen run when I water them, but I couldn't find it, so I'll just have to be careful with them until I do put the tape on. And then I have my seed packets here. So here's what I'm going to be sowing at the moment. I've got pumpkin, a tomato heirloom mix, and also a tomato big rainbow mix, watermelon, chili, I think this is a cherry tomato, and then a rock melon. I am running very late this year, as I think I said before, and I'm trying to do things as efficiently as possible. So there are a few things that I direct sowed into the garden that I wouldn't usually, like this squash mix, but I think I'm going to do a few extra because they haven't come up yet. Okay, so starting with the squash and zucchini heirloom mix. These seeds are quite big, and the little tip that I read once about sowing seeds is you plant them, the length of them below the soil. So this big seed, you would plant it like, I don't know what that is, like a centimeter deep. And then just press it down a little bit. And then I'll write on my paddle pop stick. I'll do the tomato heirloom mix next. Tomatoes transplant quite well, so you can do them quite close together.